Buongiorno, it's my bestie. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm thrilled that we've managed to make this work again. All through our own doing, but I'm thrilled.
Well, I'm more thrilled because you are currently shooting a film in Italy where it's really hot, even though you're wearing a hoodie. Could you just like stand up a little bit so people can see you are actually wearing shorts?
I've got shorts on.
Yes!
I've got flip-flops on.
Okay, too much details. How's it going? Before we talk about some stuff that I need to get off my chest, how is Italy treating you?
It's amazing. I'm playing the lead in a feature movie called Hearts of Salt.
Wow.
With all Italian cast and crew apart from me, but the script is in British. The script's written in English, and yeah, I'm playing the lead. I'm filming in Sicily for 6 weeks, and then I go off to Tunisia for a week filming. And it's just the most fun. The crew are brilliant. I'm loving Sicily. The mosquitoes love me a bit more, but apart from that,
bites on your legs though. There were no bites.
No, they're all on my back.
We need to talk about the top off things because that's been quite weird for me to get used to, because I've noticed on your Instagram stories, what is my friend doing? He's ripping his shirt off and he's showing us his body all of a sudden. How are you finding this? Because I know you're doing it for a role, but you're so silly and so just like carefree. Is this kind of weird?
Do you know what? So I had to get fit and go to the gym and had a personal trainer for a movie that I did with Lindsay Lohan called Irish Wish.
Oh, no name drop. Okay,
but very much a name drop, slapping Lindsay, you know. That's coming out on St. Patrick's Day of next year. And in the script, it's like page eight or nine. It's very early on in the script.
Yeah.
It says, Paul gets out of the shower with his glistening six-pack. And I said to the directors, I said, well, what are we going to do about that? And they said, well, we're going to give you a personal trainer and you've got 12 weeks to get into shape. So I was like, okay. And what I've done, what it did do to me was that it informed me about how to look after myself. And the funny thing is, I'm never a gym guy. And then suddenly I became a gym guy. And I just maintained it. Christmas, I let it go. I let it go over Christmas. Christmas I was like, I can't do this in the winter when it's raining. Yeah. But then I sort of picked it back up around February. And yeah, just listen. We've talked briefly about it, but like
yeah. But can I ask you a question? How does your wifey feel about the new bod? Is she loving it?
She's a fan. She's a fan.
Okay.
What I noticed with Julie was that I'd come out of the shower and then she would just be she'd be sat in a seat like in the living room where she normally would never be sat, where she would sort of wait. She wouldn't say anything. She would just wait. And then and then a sort of polite, quiet nod, like, I've kept it up, not with the strictest nutritionist and not having a personal trainer, but just going myself, because it does something wonderful for my sort of dark thoughts that I sort of tend to have. So yeah, in terms of the mental health stuff, I love it. I found that the roles that I've taken on, Outlander, other shows that, you know, not to be mentioned, but like I tend to play dark, troubled parts. I tend to play those characters, and I think it's because I can get there. I can reach those lowest of the lows and the highest of the highs. The problem with me is that I'm 35 this year. I still haven't figured out the maturity or the toolbox, the utility belt to allow that character to go. So what I end up doing is I end up saving a little bit of the darkness with me. Matt Roberts and Meryl, who the exec producers of Outlander, when they approached me to play Alan, they said, we joked about this. They said, you're the only Alan for us. Like you're the only person that can play Alan Christie. Right. And at the time I was like, that's not a compliment because Alan Christie is very dark. But I think what they meant was that I have the facility, the range, I guess, within me to be able to hopefully not make Alan an out and outright villain. Yes, the things he does is inexcusable, but to at least try and figure out a way of making him humanizing him, so that when we saw in the episode that just came out, a lot of the comments that I found on social media were people that were saying that they actually felt pity for him, which is the job of the actor, to not just go, he is an out and outright villain. Is that Alan Christie has troubled brain, you know, he's got troubled thoughts, but also he's acting from a place of love, really dark love and horrible love, but he fully believes that he's right in what he's doing.
How did you feel when you saw the backlash on Twitter and everybody trying to guess who it was?
it's kind of like the most weird whodunit, right? It's not like who shot JR, but it's like who's Malva's dad, but who's the baby daddy. I obviously knew from the get-go. I knew that basically, weirdly, I'll try and dig it out. I'll try and dig it out for you and send it to you. But I have my audition scene for Outlander, and it was my last scene, which is so weird. They gave me the end journey as my first scene to audition for, and so I knew where it was going. I knew where Alan was going. I knew where the character was going, the journey was going. Mm-hmm. What was great in a weird way, what kind of worked out for the surprise element of Alan popping back up was season 6 being shorter and season 7 starting, just finishing off the Christie's journey. Yeah. And that it allowed the Christies to exist for a bit longer than they would have done. So yeah, and also in the script, in episode 2, season 7, Alan's scene with Claire is about 2/3 of the way. So I was as surprised as you when I turn on episode 2 of season 7, and I'm like, holy crap, that's me. So they moved me, they bumped me up pre-credits.
Can we just break down a few things about that scene? Firstly, you and Katrina Balfe, I mean, I love her. But were there giggles? Because I know it's a really dark, serious scene, but you're saying like some of the things like, for example, she was mine! You know, were there any moments? I was thinking of Gollum and his ring.
Was that your impression of me?
And you were like, she was mine! And it was just, I kept thinking of Gollum and the ring in Lord of the Rings. So I was like, stop it!
Max, we talked before this, and I said you have to give me some compliments. And Gollum from Lord of the Rings is not a compliment, is it?
But hold up, at some point, I'm going to tell you to take your hoodie off, and we're going to share the abs. Yes, yes. And then you're going to be bombarded with people saying, "Wow, look at his body." Forget about his acting skills. No, but seriously, you and Kat, like I know some of these scenes are really gruesome, and to get through some of this stuff. Is there moments where before you do that moment with her, do you sit down and you talk about it? Like, how did it come about?
It was more, the scene is so beautifully written that you don't need to do much. Weirdly, the thing that was the technical thing, which was the bow and arrows in the back. So I had to wear this sort of bralette plate that had magnets on the back. So when John Bell shot the bow and arrow, it landed on my back. So when I was standing and doing the scene, I could fall down, it was a really and that's weirdly a good thing. You have a distraction, so you're not really thinking about the lines. You're thinking about this thing that you're wearing that's uncomfortable, and you're lying down.
Do you feel it then when it hits you?
Well, yeah. They sort of threw it with a hand. I think I can't really remember. I'm trying to do something like good. You know, what I did find out was what I found from that scene was that.
By the way, I'm going to stop laughing because I know this is a serious scene.
Most of my stuff in season 6 was with Jessica and with Mark.
Yeah.
As a unit with Christy. Mm. And it was kind of the real first time that I was on my own with the amazing Katrina. And we didn't really speak to each other. We were polite and said hello and good morning and had a coffee, and we did the lines, and the director said this is the first shot, and we just gave it a go. What happens, I think, when two people work together who know their characters inside and out. Katrina obviously knows Claire better than anyone. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that time that I was finally getting my closure with Alan. We didn't really go through it at all. We just I gave what I thought it was, and Katrina did hers. And there was a bit of a technical thing about how to grab the gun, tiny little things that the director was there for. But it was it was a weirdly nice day. The sun was out. I was just hoping that it was going to be dry, because I knew I was going to be on my knees for the whole day.
He's absolutely a villain of it, you know. I know he's traumatized. I know he saw things with his mum and all sorts of stuff, but I mean, what a dark character to play.
No, there's no redemption with him. But as an actor, you are desperately trying to find empathy.
Yeah.
And I was honestly, I think I've been quite public, maybe to my own detriment, about my time on Outlander wasn't particularly enjoyable.
But I can understand why.
Nothing to do with the show, nothing to do with the cast, nothing to do with the crew. Everyone treated me so well, and I was looked after so well. I've just found waking up and playing Alan hard. I just did. It was coming to set. There's very little joy to be had playing Alan.
I saw a picture today on your Instagram where you were actually flexing, and I was like, oh my God, Oh my God, this is no longer funny now. He's going to start this.
I don't think it was ever funny. I'm also just, it's weird. Instagram's weird, isn't it? I find that people who've known me for so long, the majority of my friends have known that I am just not that guy. And I find that I'm just kind of enjoying living a facade. I'm living a facade at the moment. It's all a lie. I'm not me. I'm a gym guy. I have protein shakes. I don't like it.
It's a very special, unique show. I don't think you'll ever do a show like that again. So what are you going to take from being a part of it?
My friendship and joy, utter joy of sharing a car with Mark Lewis-Jones, who played Tom Cruise. He's such a mischievous, brilliant. He's been in every Emmy award-winning show, Chernobyl, and also just because he's Welsh, he lives up the road. He lived up the road from me in Cardiff. My first job out of drama school was this terrible BBC drama called Trash, and he was in that. So we worked together in 2009, and then have not worked together ever since. And the fact that he's playing, the fact that they cast two Welsh guys to play two Scots, and I just love him. I adore him. He ended up being a lead in a short film that I directed that ended up winning the Best Short Film Award at the BBC. So I'm just so glad I met him on this, and he was a guiding light when sometimes it wasn't particularly light around. Tom, and Malva and Alan they're the Addams family, right? They're not. So it was just joyful to know that when they shouted cut and we went back to our little tent on the side of a Scottish mountain, that I looked over to this man who is a stalwart of acting, and he just made me giggle and I made him giggle, and it was just the nicest thing. And we shared a car ride in the morning, and it was sometimes 4 a.m. and the midges were biting us and it was horrible, and we would just giggle and laugh and have fun, and I adore that man for bits.
And do you know what? I loved you and Jessica in particular sharing those behind the scenes. Like, you'd be doing traumatic scenes and then the two of you would be like doing these behind the scenes videos that were hilarious. It was just like, she's been killed and you guys are all just having fun.
I know, but that's what you have to do on a show like this. But I would say that also comes from people like John Bell and David Berry, and obviously my fellow 9% actor Richard Rankin, who I've known for ages. Every time we did some scenes together, we could barely get through it, and that was important. It was important. We were told off, and please guys, focus. There's a lot of focus, boys, please, we're about to turn over. We'd end up doing the work, but in between it was just a night. In a good way, a good night.
I would like to say I finally got to chat to him, and I totally know why you two get along. He's got our weird spirit. He's got our weird little spirit, and he's a wild one. You can see it in his eyes. So I loved him. I was like, oh.
We figured out on the show that we could, if both of us gave just 9% of effort, we could get away with it, which is an awful thing to admit.
Ego boys.
On the call. So we got nicknamed the 9%ers. And we realized that if we just gave 9% certain times, these were scenes where we didn't have any dialogue. Those big scenes where you're in the back of a church or there's loads of extras and they just want a cutaway shot. We realized if we just gave like 9% effort, people were like, you're doing really good work.
But, did you take anything from memories? Like, didn't you pinch a couple of things, think, I'll take that? Nothing.
I just, when I was wrapped and I died, it was like, very rarely do you rap on your death scene. But sometimes you die and then you're back the following day to do a scene holding a candle. I died on my death scene, and I had a wig on because I cut my hair when I got married to my wife. I had to cut my hair and then I had to come back and get me this wig. I couldn't, this is going to sound really mean, but it doesn't mean, I couldn't wait to get out. I was like, get everything off. Get away, Alan! Away! I didn't. If anyone said, "Hey, do you want to keep Alan's boots or his?"
No.
And if he's in my house right now,
that's weird. Yeah, no, you're right.
Right, it's weird, isn't it? And also, if I wanted to pinch anything from the set,
not anything to do with him.
It couldn't be anything to do with him, which meant I would be stealing a prop or something that was important for another character, which means I would get into more trouble than I already am with stars. Because stars.
And listen, I want to say also, the fans, they've adored you. You know they have. You and I messaged it. I mean, I put a tweet, you retweeted it, and literally that evening there were 10,000 of them saying, yes, we can't wait to see this chat. You've inherited this bunch of beautiful fans. You've had support through all the shows you've done, but this is something different. What has it meant to you that they've loved you even through playing this quite weird, dark individual.
It means the world. It does. It means the world because, like I said earlier, my experience of playing him hasn't been fun.
Yeah.
But the feedback from all of the fans worldwide, has been so. They're very quick to say, we hate Alan, but we love you. Oh. And I feel like I think I'm doing my job right. I adore them. I adore each of them. And I think it's very hard to as a fan, to differentiate between character and actor. And I think because of who I am just my presence, they can see that, that was a bit of a leap for you, pal.
Yeah.
You did a big jump down there to get to Dark Alan. So yeah, it's been lovely. And even though they knew what the Chrissies were bringing to the Ridge, they really took me, Mark and Jessica into their arms. And I can't thank them enough. I really can't.
Okay, and the final thing at Outlander, what can you tell me? You're no longer part of it. Like, Danielle, please just block your ears. What is going to happen? We've got one final season coming. Just tell me the tea, tell me everything.
I've got. They don't give me any other episodes of anything that you're not in. So I only got. But what I will tell you, and it's not a scoop. It's more of a personal. Yeah, personal declaration of love. Is that Joey Phillips, new member of the cast? Joey was my understudy when I played Romeo in Romeo and Juliet 4 years ago. And the fact that I'm seeing him now on this huge show, and I'm so proud of him, and I think he deserves the world. And I'm thrilled that the Outlander cast get to finally see his character rock up. So that's my scoop for you. I know you're not happy. You're not happy. But that's all you're getting. That's all you're getting.
What's really nice about Alex, just so everyone knows this, I said to Alex, I've got a chance to chat to the cast. Who should I chat to? And you did say Joey. You actually picked all the new cast members, and you were like, Joey, lovely, talk to him. And I was like, oh.
I just I'm a big champion of people that deserve to be championed. I think this industry is so fickle and mean and scathing and horrible sometimes, and you feel incredibly alone. Sometimes you feel even more isolated. You've got your agent and your manager potentially, or your publicist, but I mean, it's still you that has to do the work. And sometimes I feel like actors tend to feel a bit like they're punching each other. Like, no, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Yeah. I'm a big champion of supporting anyone that has helped me or deserves it. And Joey's one of those people.
So listen, Lindsay Lohan, that movie, I know it's a rom-com. I'm so excited for you because you told me about this and I was like, yes! Was it fun? Because I remember you were going to shoot it.
Yeah, it was. God, it's so nice, weirdly, so nice for me to do something modern day. That was the biggest thing. I was like, modern day. Also, I've been back. Listen, Netflix has been around for a while, but for me as an actor, I have been banging on Netflix's door, getting very close to very big things for about 6 or 7 years. And this was just, hey, do you want to come work with Lindsay on this feature film playing the lead? And I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. I haven't auditioned. The directors, Michael and Janine Damien, they're a husband and wife couple who are lovely. They saw my work on Versailles and they were like, we want Alex. And I got to work with Lindsay and Ed Spieler. We're in the read-through. Read-throughs are normally boring and tedious. And she is so brilliant at rom-coms. That genre is like her. It's a niche. In the read-through, I have never seen, it was like a stand-up. She was named every bloody joke. But and me and Ed were opposite her because we're the sort of the romantic leads opposite. So she was opposite us on this table.
Yeah.
And me and Ed missed bits of our lines. It was like this.
Aww.
We're just staring at her like, she's great. She's everything that you think she is and more. Super professional, super creative, super down to earth. She had her family there and her husband there, and it was just lovely. It's just so weird for something to shoot something and know that I finished it in October of last year. Wow. It's not coming until St. Patrick's Day next year.
And listen, Alex, it was always a pleasure. We'll catch up again. Congrats with everything. I adore you. You bring.
And I just want to say, I said it last time. You better put this in, but I know it's.
I just don't want to be like, if you say nice things and people think,
I just think you're bloody wonderful at your job, and the reason why this is the only interview I'm giving is because of you. So just know that. So well done.
Well, you know I love you loads and I appreciate that. Alex, have a fantastic time. What you're shooting right now, when are we going to get to see it before you go?
I think it'll be, honestly, I think they're banking it around the same time as Irish Wish. So about March, April next year. It'll come out on the independent circuits, hopefully just some festivals, and it'll premiere in Italy, and it's got distribution rights in the UK, so a small cinema release.
So you're killing it. You're taking over the world.
I slowly but surely, like a chess piece, like one pawn at a time, I am taking over the world, yes.
Thank you so much.